Okay, what's up, everyone? Welcome to this week's very own episode of Off the Bat, episode 11 of this season to be exact. If you like baseball, you're in the right place, because we've got you covered. Before I get started, I want to talk a little bit about this week's sponsor, Podpage. Off the Bat has been around for a while now, and we weren't getting that many listeners. I looked at the possible options and was led every single time to Podpage. All you need is a domain and an RSS feed, and you can get a beautiful website made for you at the best prices there are. Check them out at offthebat.ca/podpage. Again, offthebat.ca/podpage for more info. Heading on to this week's episode. Welcome to the podcast, Dylan. All this back and forth finally worked out for both of us. Obviously, we'd like to get to know you a little bit more before we get started. So how about introducing yourself to the community? Spare no details.
Hey, Jonah. Yeah, I'm glad we could make this work. We kind of went back and forth a few times before getting together. But my name's Dylan Nasiatka. I am a hitting coach in the Los Angeles Dodgers organization. This year, I would have been at the rookie advanced affiliate in the Pioneer League, which would be the Ogden Raptors. I live in Bakersfield, California, just a couple hours north of Los Angeles. And just happy to join you here today.
Okay, well, that's great. So it looks like you've been in baseball for a while now. What would you say originally got you into it?
Well, my dad got me really interested in baseball as a kid, and just got me curious about different things. I was always pointing little things out, and we went to a lot of baseball games when I was a kid growing up, and so it's just something I always wanted to do. Of course, I wanted to play just like every other coach at some point did, and unfortunately, the career ended, shorter than I had wanted. But yeah, I've been coaching. This is my 8th year coaching baseball now, and I absolutely love every minute of it.
Yeah, so wait, where were you from? Are you from LA?
I'm from Bakersfield, born and raised.
Is that what's the?
California. So
okay.
I'm about 2 hours north of Los Angeles. We're in the Central Valley of California. So it's there's some mountains separating basically where I live and Southern California where Los Angeles is.
And so did you grow up a Dodgers fan or an Angels fan or any other teams, I guess?
Yeah, great question. Dodgers fan. One of my earliest memories is actually as a really little kid talking to Mike Piazza. At that time, the Dodgers had an affiliate in Bakersfield called the Bakersfield Dodgers. And Mike Piazza would put his gear on in between innings, and I would go down and I would talk to him. And this is so long ago. I don't even know how old I was. 3 years old. I just have like flashes of these memories. So some really good times.
It's very different times now. I went to Buffalo Bisons a few years ago, and it was completely different. Like, obviously you can hear the crack of the bat, but you can't really go onto the field or speak to players. It's kind of all closed off now, so that seems pretty cool.
It's a really unique environment. Unfortunately, we don't have a professional baseball team, an affiliated professional baseball team in Bakersfield anymore, and I hope someday that comes back, because that was something that was just awesome growing up, was to be able to go and see these guys who were coming up through the system. Saw some really good players come through Bakersfield. Yasiel Puig played in Bakersfield at one point on his way up, and a lot of different guys always down rehabbing. And really cool experience. Really
what
love
level were they?
High A. So
Guys
advanced.
rehabbing, were they rehabbing for like the other A levels or?
Yeah, just rehab, either major leaguers who are rehabbing an injury, so they're what they'll do. Like for us now, we have our high A team is in Rancho Cucamonga, and so if one of the major leaguers gets hurt, what they would typically do is start out the rehab stint in Arizona, and then sort of follow up the chain. At some point, they would go to Rancho Cucamonga and then up, higher to double AAA and then back to the big leagues.
I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. Uh, so from what I can see, it shows you've had 3 different positions at Bakersfield College in baseball. So what really were they? Because it seems like a lot.
Sure. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so my previous position was at Bakersfield College, and I think it's really 2 positions at Bakersfield College, but so I started out at Bakersfield College. It was my first coaching job, really as kind of like an unpaid assistant, running around doing everything I could just to be able to coach, and continued my education, finished my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, started teaching as an adjunct instructor, and then the last couple of years, I was actually a full-time professor at Bakersfield College before landing the Dodgers position.
So what'd you teach if you were a professor?
I was in the kinesiology department, and so I was actually at a satellite campus. So I taught nearly everything underneath our major. So it would be health classes, CPR classes, intro to kinesiology. So yeah, movement classes, different stuff.
That's interesting. We've never had anyone on like that. So this technically is your first year working in a major league organization. And this season, because the minor leagues aren't really working, I'm curious what you've been doing this summer.
Yeah, well, this has been an interesting time. We weren't really sure what we were going to do. Really so lucky to be in the organization that I'm in. They kind of said, you know what, we trust you guys to do what you can to help these players. So it's been just a lot of communication back and forth. I've spent a lot of hours on Zoom with players and other coaches, and phone calls and text messages. And my buddy, one of my friends here, would joke with me that sometimes we'd go out and maybe golf or something, and during the round of golf, I was getting constant videos of swings and getting back and forth, and I really wasn't talking to him much of the round because I really was working, which was kind of interesting in itself.
Yeah. So before the season was canceled, what were you expecting the new position to be like?
Wow. Well, see, we packed everything up and went home during spring training, right before games had started in spring training. The next step would have been extended spring training. And then I would have been sent out to our affiliate. And so as a hitting coach, I'm responsible I would have had a lot of the brand new drafted players, or maybe players who were playing for their first time stateside, or maybe the first time playing at an affiliate. And essentially kind of, breaking them into affiliate ball a little bit, going through some of our core philosophies that we have in the organization, teaching them how to plan, appropriately for games, and, kind of help them along that path of being a professional.
Okay. Well, yeah, that seems really new. That's new information to me. I'm just also curious. So clearly, if you're about to go to a major league ball game, you see there are tons of employees with the players, and people working the field, and people working in the dugout, and even people working in the stands. I'm curious, what's like the difference in the amount of people that work in the major league ball club in the actual park versus an affiliate team?
Oh yeah. Well, we have similar staffs, but just not quite the manpower. So in a major league dugout at any given moment, if the camera pans to the dugout, you might see strength conditioning staff and trainers, as well as there's a lot of different coaches that are in the dugout, strategists and people who are communicating with the front office and working those into strategy, as well as those who are coaching positions. And it's actually probably more than I even understand at this point. But at the affiliate level, we have 4 coaches. So typically there's the manager, there is a hitting coach, a pitching coach, and a bench coach. And then we also have a development coach who's a 5th coach. And so for us, we kind of stay in our own lane. I work with the hitters and, of course, get help whenever I can from the other guys. But we feel pretty good about the staffing with the 5 guys.
5 guys. And then
the hamburger joke.
Yeah. I'm just. How many seats does your ballpark have?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I actually have not seen Ogden.
Here, what's it called? Ogden. What's it called? Here, I'm just gonna pull it up.
So Ogden Raptors.
Okay. The Lindquist Field. They play at Lindquist Field, and the capacity currently from Google is about 8,262. That is very exact. Okay, well then that's the answer to my question. So when the season was on hold, like when the MLB was on hold, what were you doing in your spare time? Like, did you learn a new skill? Obviously, we've been asking a lot of our guests that.
Yeah. Well, of course, I think I was like everybody else. For the first week, I thought, well, we're only going to be home for a week, so this will pass. So I started doing some Spanish lessons, just kind of light Spanish lessons. But as we started to realize that this was going to go a little bit longer, I've really been getting after that, trying to learn Spanish. Not only just to know enough to get by. I actually, at some point, would really like to be fluent in Spanish. So worked really hard on that. Worked really hard talking with the other people in our hitting department, just to really understand professional baseball better and the things that help hitters to be professionals and continue to climb up the ranks.
Okay. Well, yeah, that seems like a cool skill. I guess learning Spanish is. We had another minor league ball coach who taught themselves Spanish, actually, so that was fun. Yankees coach Rachel Bakovic, so that was a cool episode. So being a hitting coach and all, you probably have an opinion on this. So the other day, Fernando Tatis Jr. hit a grand slam on a 3-0 count. He was shamed and then eventually apologized. However, Colin McHugh, Garrett Cole, and many others have voiced their opinions about this topic. What are your thoughts?
Wow, that's a great question, Jonah. So, well, I do think that for every major league home run, that has to add to that player's potential earnings. It's a professional environment, so also for every strikeout that a pitcher gets, it probably adds to his potential earnings. And in the heat of competition, I think all is fair. So, Tatis is a really good young player, really exciting player. Going to be really fun to watch as he continues to grow and develop. And we'll see. But yeah, it's been some interesting conversations sparked for sure.
Yeah, a lot of players have been speaking about this. So this season is now more than a third done, which for some reason means fans are starting to come up with playoff predictions. While some view this as odd, there are some clear frontrunners like the Yankees and Dodgers, who we've had minor league coaches from both. Who would you say, or would you project, will get the 8th playoff seed in the AL and the NL?
The 8th playoff seed, that's a great question.
Jays just won. They were down 7-2.
Speaking of young talent there, It's almost like every player on their roster, their dad is a Hall of Famer. Um, Man, that's a great question, Jonah. I have no idea. I'm just so happy that we have Major League Baseball back on TV.
Yeah, that is one important thing. Like when Major League Baseball wasn't on, we've had a lot of different people connect to come on the podcast. So we were creating a lot more content than we are now. So obviously my life is a little less hectic for the Major League Baseball, but I'm excited for the off season.
Yeah, absolutely. The off season, you guys should definitely be picking back up a little bit.
So this is actually it, the last question. So in order to keep the podcast going with some great content, we like to ask our guests to nominate a few people and connect us so that we can bring more awesome content during the season and the off season. So is there anybody you'd like to nominate?
Wow. There's so many interesting people that I work with. I would say first and foremost, talk to him all the time, would be the manager we would have had in Ogden, Tony Cappuccilli. I think he's always really interesting to talk to, and that's a really great question. Yeah, there are some people that I don't know, Jonah. Aside from, I think Tony would be great. I think you guys
That's
would love having him.
perfect. No, we're happy. We're happy with anybody. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
So that's actually it. And it's been 22 minutes and it does not feel like that. So to the community, check us out at our brand new website, offthebat.ca. Thanks again for coming on and have a great day.